So, before I begin this video, I want to basically say this. I recognize Xbox has done a lot of great things. I love Game Pass. I keep saying it. Game Pass is everything. I wish more game developers / the big three, Sony and Nintendo, would do. It's a great bang for your buck. It's really good. I love Game Pass, and it's a great way to discover games that you probably wouldn't even consider buying. I also want to give huge props for Hi-Fi Rush. That is the most unique and funnest Xbox game that has ever come out. The most funnest Xbox game I've played in a long while, since maybe Halo Infinite Online, first week of online. Truly, truly amazing. And I also want to say that the game also reminded me of what Platinum would make before. Like, when Platinum was on their shit, Hi-Fi Rush is that. So when I talk these next few minutes about Xbox, best believe I recognize that Xbox has done great things. But fuck me, if I was an Xbox fan, I would be extremely fucking pissed at the incompetence and the idiocracy over at Xbox. There is just fuck of all fucks given in that fucking studio. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Xbox, but these few days and weeks of Xbox have been piss poor. So for those that don't know, first things first that happened was the UK Competition and Marketing Authorities, the CMA for short, blocked the Activision deal. So now Xbox is trying to appeal it, and that could take years to appeal. They might not even win it. There's a slim chance for what everyone's reporting on. I'm going to hope they win it. I'm going to pray. But a great deal has gone down the drain. I know Jim Ryan is doing fucking backflips and getting excited for that. But, you know, it's not going to look so good for Xbox, because it's going to delay a lot of announcements and a lot of things that they probably want to do with the Activision deal. You know, that could also mean that any game that they had working on could still come to the PlayStation. So I don't fucking know. Like, if I was Phil, which I know he's fucking angry, I would be angry. Not only that, Redfall, their first $70 AAA game from Arkane Studios, the guys who did Dishonored and Prey, which I just realized that they did Prey. Their game has come out and has gotten very mediocre reviews. Very mediocre. And it's just filled with bugs, glitches. It is a mess. It's a mess of a fucking game. And then the icing on top of this shit-ass ice cream was Phil Spencer came out and did an interview with Kinda Funny Games. And he basically bent over and basically got fucked in the ass. And basically said a lot of things that I firm-heartedly disagree with. And it was, I gotta be honest with you, Xbox fan, I hate to be this guy, but it was the most saddest fucking interview I've ever seen. Even though I have watched the full interview, and I completely understand where he was coming from with a lot of it, it was the saddest fucking interview I've ever seen. And I'm just dumbfounded that anybody could defend Xbox after listening to that, and I mean the whole interview. How anybody could sit there and as a fan of the product, of the brand of Xbox, be happy with what Phil Spencer said in that podcast. That was the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen. But despite all that, there were some interesting things he did say. In the interview, they asked him what is the mindset of how you do delays in a company? And Phil answered it truthfully. He was like, how we go through delays is pretty simple. We go through and we ask and we see if the game has a ton of bugs. If the game has a ton of bugs, we'll delay the game. But if it's the game's core ideals are not reached or it's just not working, we'll still put out the game. And my issue with that, well, the first things first. The positive of that is, okay, that is cool. And that's understandable. But my issue with that mentality is presentation. Now, Redfall is the first Xbox $70 price game. And I know I have been very vocal about how much I don't care for $70. I'll play a game if it's $70. I don't give a fuck about price tags. I care about experience and the presentation. How the fuck did anybody over at Xbox look at Redfall and was like, this is good enough to be shipped out to billions of people? How, Phil? How? So what it came down to me as I watched more of the interview was simple as this. Phil is saying, basically, is that the Xbox people under him knew about the situation, but he did not know. How the fuck is this possible? I have no idea. That means to tell me there's a communication problem of Xbox. There are people who are fucking yes men at Xbox, and they don't give a fuck about the brand of Xbox on the level that others would care. Because anybody who gives a fuck about the Xbox brand would have looked at Redfall and was like, that's inappropriate to put out. Regardless if the ideas didn't come through, the presentation matters of all else. You can get away with a mediocre gameplay, alright, and get away with mediocre ideas. What you can't get away with is fucking mediocre, horrible presentation. Horrible presentation. Like, I cannot believe anybody at Xbox could not look at Redfall and be like, yeah, this needs to be delayed. Like, I can't believe that. And so it really comes to me that no one at Xbox is willing to tell Phil what he needs to be told. That shit, this ain't looking so good. This ain't looking so great. Let's delay it. You know, it kind of reminds me of the complete opposite what happened with God of War. I highly recommend, once again, that people check out Raising Kratos. It was this great documentary of the making of God of War. And I remember there's one part of that documentary where they were talking about the bugs. Like, that game was buggy. It had so much fucking bugs to the point where they were like, we have to delay this game. And I remember, I think the head of the studio, she had to call up every single Sony exec and show them what the fuck was going on. And everybody at Sony, that Santa Monica studio, was fucking losing their minds. They were praying to the elder gods, literally getting down on knees, praying that the game would be delayed so they could fix this shit. And everybody they showed, the higher ups were at Sony, they showed that shit and they were like, that's not part of the PlayStation brand. We gotta delay this shit. And they had to wait until, I believe, Jim Ryan or the head of PlayStation at the time to get the okay, and they got that okay, and they were presently pleased. Imagine what would have happened if fucking PlayStation, if God of War did not get that delay. Regardless of how you feel about God of War 2018, whether it's not a God of War game, whether it's two-story narrative, at least the presentation of that game looks phenomenal. When you play it, no bugs. It might have some, but no, not noticeable. Barely any problems with that game. That game runs smooth, it runs great. How the fuck? Why the fuck is that same energy not being treated for fucking Xbox? That is ridiculous. That is beyond ridiculous. And, you know, I'm willing to back Phil up. But when he said that they lost the console generation, which is true, because of the Xbox One's stupidity, they lost the console generation. That is very true. The simple fact that he said that, but then said, if you think good games will increase Xbox sales, you're out of your mind. I just sat there with this confused fucking face on my face, puzzled on why he would think that shit. Because truth be told, regardless of library of games, regardless if you're an Xbox, PlayStation, whatever fan, if a good game is a fucking good game, motherfuckers are gonna pull up to that game. If you were making games on the level and the quality control of the level of a God of War, of a Last of Us, of a Spider-Man, of a fucking Horizon Forbidden West, all these PlayStation games, and even Nintendo, regardless of how I feel, you know, Tears of the Kingdom is about to drop. And if you make games that were on the level of those shits, you don't think fucking console fucking numbers would go to the roof? Hell, a fucking Game Pass levels would skyrocket. People would literally be buying years and years worth of Game Pass. Again, if you make great content, people will follow. You don't need to worry if people are gonna stick with your console or stick with the fucking PlayStation or Xbox. Nobody gives a fuck. You know, people have their own taste in consoles. But you know what people care about at the end of the day? Great content. And so far, they have constantly, and I repeat, constantly have let the Xbox brand down considerably. I don't know how the fuck do we still not see any real actual gameplay for Senua's Sacrifice 2, Hellblade 2, I should say. I don't know how the fuck we have the team over at fucking Fable, the team Fable, still have not shown anything. Perfect Dark still have not shown anything. Fucking greatness awaits still, and I'm still annoyed, bruh. Nothing. You have literally Outer Wilds 2 and the team working on a new IP. Still nothing. But greatness awaits. But that's great that the greatness awaits. But I'm tired of the greatness coming and it's mediocre. Fucking Halo Infinite, mediocre. Fucking Redfall, mediocre. The only one that's lived up to the expectation is fucking Hi-Fi Rush. And Hi-Fi Rush was a shadow drop. It was a shocking shadow drop. So miss me with all this nonsense. Miss me with all this bullshit. I've said it before and I'll say it again about fucking Xbox. Xbox buys art. PlayStation and Nintendo creates art. There's nothing wrong with either one of those, but if we really want to be serious, creating art will always be better than buying art. Why? Because you can tell when you play a PlayStation game, it's gonna have the quality level, the fucking love and attention to detail a AAA game should have. Regardless if you have a problem with it being a walking simulator or whatever, you know when you get your hands on a fucking PlayStation game, you gonna get greatness. So that's why I don't fucking mind that I have to wait fucking months and months and months for a fucking Sony event. Because I know when fucking Spider-Man 2 comes out, it's gonna be a banger. I know when fucking Final Fantasy 16 comes out, it's gonna be a damn good game. Alright? Because PlayStation is not gonna let a fucking game come out on their platform and it be mediocre. For the most part. At fucking Nintendo. I know Tears of the Kingdom, even though I don't give a fuck about that game, I know that game is gonna be good. Why? Because they put passion and heart into that game. You know, I know it. They made us wait years and years for it, so I know it's gonna come out and it's gonna meet our expectation. When I get an Xbox game, best believe I'm trying to figure out. It's like a fucking burger. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna get. All right, a random burger. It's like a mystery X food. You don't know what the fuck you're gonna get. You probably might get something shit, or you might get something trash. And I'm just tired of it. You know, I'm sorry if I'm just rambling in this video. I'm just annoyed by the full interview. I'm annoyed at Xbox because I know they can do better. I see the greatness. I know there's great potential in Xbox. But either Phil Spencer needs to go, or the people below him needs to go. Because there's too much incompetence going on at Xbox, and something needs to change. Something in the Xbox office needs to fucking change. Because at the rate they're going at, they might as well just say, fuck it, we're not doing any consoles, and you're just gonna get Game Pass on, put Game Pass on all these fucking consoles, and yeah, fucking Halo games will be on fucking PlayStation and Nintendo, you know, and I don't want that. I do think there's room enough for Microsoft to play ball, but they need to fucking work on their craft. And that's all I gotta say on this shit. If you're new to the channel, please comment, rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, guys, stay safe and have a good one. Fuck Microsoft, and get your shit together. Get your shit together, Microsoft. Come on.